secretly information unavailable from open sources. George Tenet, director of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, at the beginning of the 21st century, summed up the agency's main mission in 3 words: "We steal secrets." During the Cold War, Allen Dulles, the longest-serving CIA director, wrote that over the centuries, intelligence organizations had also shown themselves an ideal vehicle for conspiracy. From earliest times, intelligence has often involved covert operations intended to influence the course of events by methods ranging from deception to assassination, active measures, as the 20th century KGB called them. Deception involving a bogus defector played a key role in the Athenian victory at the naval Battle of Salamis in 480 BC, at a critical moment during the invasion of Greece by the Persian Empire. For the next 2.5 millennia, however, the Salamis deception attracted only a tiny fraction of the interest aroused by the fictional deception of the Trojan horse, which first featured in Homer's Odyssey and later, in greater detail, in the Aeneid by the Roman poet Virgil. Even in the 21st century, public understanding of intelligence operations is frequently colored, if not confused, by spy fiction. No real intelligence practitioner, alive or dead, is remotely as well known as James Bond. No author in ancient Greece or Rome showed a grasp of strategic intelligence which compared with that of the Jewish priests, who, probably during the 2 centuries before Athens's Golden Age, had written the biblical accounts of espionage in Canaan by the spies of Moses and Joshua. Thucydides, the greatest historian of European classical antiquity, famously wrote of the origins of the Peloponnesian War in the 5th century BC, "The growth of the power of Athens and the alarm which this inspired in Sparta made war inevitable." But intelligence on its rival was not a priority for either Athens or Sparta, or for Thucydides, though he was a general as well as a historian. The first books to argue that intelligence should have a central role in war and peace were written not in Greece or Rome, but in ancient China and the Indian subcontinent. The Art of War, Sun-Zi Bingfa, traditionally ascribed to Confucius's contemporary, the Chinese general Sun Tzu, around 544 to 496 BC, and the Arthashastra, a manual on statecraft attributed to a senior advisor of the founder of the Mauryan dynasty, which dominated India between 322 and 187 BC. Central to the revival of interest in intelligence in 20th century China and India was the rediscovery, after centuries of neglect, of these 2 ancient works. In India today, the Arthashastra has a status similar to that of Aristotle's Politics and Machiavelli's The Prince in the West. Sun Tzu has been far more revered in communist China than in any imperial dynasty since the 3rd century AD. Even in the United States, he is more frequently quoted than any pre-20th century Western writer on intelligence. During what Europeans later called the Dark Ages, when the influence of Sun Tzu and the Arthashastra was in decline in Asia, the global leaders in intelligence operations were Muhammad and the Islamic Caliphate, established in the Middle East after his death in 632. While uniting the tribes of the Arab Peninsula under the banner of Islam, Muhammad fought 27 battles and instigated about 50 armed raids. Probably his most widely read Muslim biographer today, Safiur Rahman al-Mubarakpuri, claims that the Prophet was the greatest military leader in the entire world. The Hadiths, sacred records of Muhammad's words and deeds, give many instances of how, during his military campaigns, he paid close attention to intelligence. Al-Mubarakpuri and other Muslim biographers of Muhammad, however, barely mention his intelligence operations, which are more frequently cited by Islamist extremists. The only intelligence operations in which medieval Europe was probably the world leader were devoted to what was later called counter-subversion. Catholic inquisitions to root out religious heresy anticipated the very much larger